Welcome to Who Wrote That Up for You, a daily podcast that shines a light on the American justice system and its role in empowering the powerful to take from you. The justice system is the only branch of your government where an individual, rather than the collective, can make the system act for you. It puts power in the individual's hands, but it's broken and being used against you at a time when you need it most.
And welcome to Who Wrote That Up for You. I am Sonia Ebron, a co-founder at Courtroom 5.
And I am Deborah Sloan, the other co-founder at Courtroom 5.
Just a wonderful show lined up for you today. In a few moments, we'll speak with Nichelle, who goes by Nikki Perry. Nichelle is the law library director and associate professor of law at the North Carolina Central University School of Law here in Durham, North Carolina. And I have been looking forward to this conversation for some time. So we'll get a chance to chat with her about the law school curriculum and the future of law school education, in particular the integration of justice technologies into that education. So really looking forward to that. Before we get there, Deborah, what is on your mind today?
I want to talk a little bit about gender parity in college admissions. So, now the Supreme Court has eliminated what they see as, quote, race-based admission. Let's now talk about affirmative action for men. The number of men applying to college has been steadily dropping for like 30 years, and people think it will start accelerating soon. But admissions officers in colleges, they've dropped, although they've dropped the affirmative action for race, they have not really, they're not even thinking about doing that for men. So they reject women now at a higher rate in lots of the preferred schools or high end schools. They reject women at a higher rate than they reject men. In other words, men have a better chance of attending because there are fewer of them. Given a male student, and like if they had a male student and a female student with the same qualifications, they will select and admit the male student and put the female student on the wait list. My problem is with this is that nobody's really talking about that. Nobody's mad at that. Nobody's mad at gender parity. They're talking about, you know, legacy admissions instead, which, doesn't, uh, anyway, I won't even go into that, but they're talking about legacy admissions because perhaps they don't want to talk about this issue. But why not talk about gender issues? It seems to be more on par with race based affirmative action. So it should be just as bad, right? So, but anyway, as an African American, I'm like, okay, fine. But now let's talk about some reparations. Okay, that's where I want to go with that.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, yeah. I understand the argument at least for the gender affirmative action. So obviously I understand the argument for race-based affirmative action as well. But I think there are some interesting potential parallels to be made there. I think everybody in a diverse environment does much better. That has been shown over and over and over again. So it's not simply race-based affirmative action is not simply a benefit to Black and Latino, that sort of thing. It's a benefit to everybody, right? I mean, we're all here, and nobody's going anywhere, right? That's the thing, and so yeah, I think there are some parallels to be made between those. But I'm with you. I want my money as well. Okay, straight up. So fantastic. I appreciate you raising that issue. At Courtroom 5, we believe the courts belong to the people, in particular to the people who use them. And we, the people, are coming to claim our courts. And so if you are in court without a lawyer, or you need to sue someone and can't find a lawyer to represent you, get yourself over to courtroom5.com. Give us a try today, and we hope to provide some relief for you there. At this time, it is my great pleasure to welcome onto the show Nikki Perry. Nichelle, Professor Perry, thank you so much for joining us. I've been wanting to chat with you here for a long time. Before we get into your background, Tell us about that beautiful first name of yours, Nichelle. It reminds me of Nichelle Nichols from Star Trek, and I don't recall the character's name particular, but tell us about Nichelle.
So you are correct. It comes from Star Trek. So Nichelle Nichols was the character who played Lieutenant Uhura on Star Trek, one of the first Black female leads in the 60s and 70s. My mother was a big Star Trek fan, and hence the name Nichelle. So Nichelle became very cumbersome when I was a teenager. I think what my freshman year of college, and so Nikki started sticking, and so Nikki from college forward has been my nickname. And my mother did approve of the name Nikki, so it was a good nickname. So
That's
it's
fantastic. Right, big ups to your mom there. Great
good.
choice. So let me understand. You're a lawyer, but you're also the law library director. And law
I know.
libraries, yeah, I mean that's a big deal. Tell us how.
Super.
First of all, what got you involved in being a lawyer, being interested in that, and then becoming interested in law libraries in particular.
Yeah, so I wanted to be a lawyer my entire life, right? So I was 5 years old, and my cousin, who was worked for a big firm, was in law school when I was younger. So I emulated everything she did. So I went to law school and then realized that the practice of law was not for me, which a lot of people realize, and it's more prevalent now than it was when I went to law school. Um, I quickly, I was working in academia and I was the director of academic support and realized that I could either go get an LLM or, Master's of Library Science. And the library director then, Deborah Jeffries, was like, "You should really consider just getting an MLS." And it was the best move that I could ever make. It combines my love of research, my love of the law. I still utilize my law degree. I utilize my library degree. I work with students. I work with faculty. And so it's really the best of both worlds. I have loved it and thoroughly enjoyed my career in law librarianship for the past 20 years. So, yeah.
I love that. Deborah taught librarians for many years.
Yay.
And so I'm not going to be able to keep her out of this conversation. I can tell
Not
already.
at all. And don't discount the skill set that librarians bring to the table. I tell people all the time, now I use my legal set, but don't discount what I learned as a investigator and as a researcher to bring it all together, so that I have the best of both worlds. I couldn't do it without my library side. Yeah.
It's a powerful combination, no doubt. And
Mhm.
I've learned obviously a lot about librarians and the power of librarians here at Courtroom Five. Let me ask you then. Let's talk about the law school curriculum. I've never
Mhm.
gone to law school, but what is it that you're preparing lawyers to do?
You know, the, we're pivoting just like everybody else. So, I'm sure everyone's watched the Paper Chase or all these other shows where you get scared the bejesus off, and they do something called the Socratic method, which means that you get called on and you have to brief the case and go through and describe what the law is. And so, really, it's a memorization, knowledge of the law, and knowing the law was really what law school is about, right? But you have to remember that law school is also um law is a business, right? It's dealing with clients, it's dealing with opposing counsels and other people. So it's multifaceted, right? So the law is only one part. So as we move forward to the 21st century and the age of technology, where technology is embedded in every single thing that we do, we as practitioners also have to pivot and incorporate and teach students how to practice law, right? So what do they do rather than just their baseline overview scholarship or knowledge of the law? How do they do it? How do they represent clients? How do they run their business, etc.? So I believe that all everything that we're seeing in the world of pivoting, et cetera, law schools are pivoting as well. So there is also something in 2026, we'll have something called the Next Gen Bar. So the Next Gen Bar is designed specifically to examine how students will represent clients and how they think analytically. So how will I represent this client not just by regurgitating the law, but how will I be able to analyze and communicate and research with a client and provide them with the best representation possible? So
That-
exciting times.
it is. I agree with you. As a non-lawyer, just watching the changes in the profession, it's really extraordinary. And so I know, lawyers do lots of things, right? You have
Hmm.
the who was Trump's lawyer? I'm blanking on his name. Michael somebody.
I
Um,
don't
yeah, I know. But
know.
that sort of concierge lawyer with three clients for a long
Right,
period, all the way
right.
to ambulance chasers, quote unquote, as they're called. Michael Cohen,
Yeah,
his name is. Yeah. There's just a wide range, and very few lawyers actually find their way to the courthouse, right?
right.
Most lawyers are doing estate planning
Yeah.
or some other sort of representation that's outside of the court system traditionally.
Mhm.
And so, when you think about educating lawyers, you have to think about all of the ways, I guess, that they are going to be working. They're going to be
Mhm.
serving clients and doing that sort of work. How does law librarianship, I guess, factor into that? Because the law library has to be pretty broad as well, or does it?
I think you're absolutely right. It has to be pretty broad. And I also, wanna. My husband always tells me to calm down a little bit. I get a little excited about teaching and the researching, right? Because it is important. If you don't know how to find the law or what the law is made up of, then you can't practice law, right? So I think that that is incredibly important to recognize and utilize the law library as a base. Now, again, with the advent of computers, everybody said the library was dead, right? But if you even take a look at public libraries and how public libraries have pivoted, right? People said libraries were dead. Look at that pivot that public libraries did and all the resources and services that public libraries now offer. You can't get a spot in the public library now. It's the same, and it's the same with law librarianship. There are so many resources that are available to our faculty, students, the general public, right? You have to know, as an information professional, I know where to get the best resources, if I should pay for this, how much I should pay for it, if I can get it for free, what content is available on this platform versus what content is available on this platform and how they differ, and then even how to locate that information because it might not be readily apparent from just the naked eye. Whole plethora of things, right? And the more technology that we throw on top of it, right, the more deeper it becomes. And so, don't discount that skill set that you will learn from legal research as a whole, but then also the technology component that goes with legal research.
That's extraordinary, extraordinary. And so I'm thinking about just the way we do things at Courtroom 5. And so Deborah
Mhm.
has been largely responsible for the information architecture, right? And helping people find what they need
Amazing.
to. It's been critical and just really instructive for me over the years to see how she and her team have worked to make the content about the law that our customers need to better match what they're trying to do, what they're trying to get
Right.
done. And so it's extraordinary to hear about how that is happening in the law more directly there. Okay, fantastic. And so law school education obviously has had to evolve with the
Mhm.
proliferation of, just electronic resources and,
Mhm.
and digitization of everything, and
Mhm.
lots of law being practiced online these days as well. You're
Right.
integrating, I know, lots of software packages and platforms into the law school curriculum there. Can you
Mhm.
talk a bit about what's happening?
Wow. I mean, so think about the practice of law and how, what it's based on. We just talked that it's tech heavy, right? So now there are platforms available for everything under the sun, right? So there's how to manage your practice, right? There's how to manage your billing within your practice. There's how to do your legal research. There's how to create and draft documents. So all of these are great platforms that all attorneys should leave law school being aware that there are a wide variety of resources and platforms available for them to help them and assisting them with the practice of law. And so you have to know that they exist, and then you also have to have a little bit of how they're based and organized. But I think awareness is half the battle, right? Just being aware that there is a system out there that can help you, um, and being able to tap into that as needed, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And so much of many of the tools that are in the legal tech sort of
Hmm.
space, obviously, are along the path you described there,
Hmm.
designed for lawyers to be more efficient in their practices and so forth. And obviously, that has some access to justice implications, right? The better
Hmm. Hmm.
lawyers can work, within their firms, the more they have to be able to serve their clients and
Hmm.
give pro bono and all of that. And then there's justice tech in particular. This is direct to consumer work that Courtroom
Hmm.
Five and many other companies are doing. And
Right.
so, talk a bit about the potential integration of that sort of technology into the law school education.
Again, it speaks volumes as to awareness. And I was going to tell you, calm down. I am so over the moon with the ability to have, this justice to technology integrated, or the ability to utilize this. So, first and foremost, it's giving the power back to the people, right? So law is complex. I'm a lawyer, and it's still complex for me to be able to read and to sift through it. So being able to have these platforms, which will put the power back into the hands of the people, right? So that's one thing, right? And the goal of any lawyer, like good or bad, should be to serve people and to seek justice, right? So what you want is, you don't want wrongs to people. When people have been wronged in any way, shape, or form, you want to combat that, right? So, the justice to technology platforms such as Courtroom Five give people the ability to correct those wrongs, right? Okay. So I'm a lawyer. I also have to eat, though, right? So I want to correct what's wrong, right? But I also have to feed my family, um, even if it's just grilled chicken breasts and mashed potatoes every night, right? It's your baseline. So how do we balance the two, right? I think this is where justice technology actually is of incredible benefit, because again, we're giving the power back to the people, but then we're also allowing the people who have a strong knowledge base in the area to help, right, and to marry. So in my opinion, it opens the door for incredible partnerships, right? Incredible ways for attorneys to help, and incredible ways for attorneys to also uh, uh, strengthen their pockets and eat, right? You still have to eat. You can still make money by allowing people to access these justice to technology platforms.
That is such an enlightened perspective, in my opinion. We do hear some sectors of the bar concerned, as you indicated, about justice tech, and that is legal tech geared to consumers, to the legal
Hmm.
consumer, taking money away, taking money out of the pockets of lawyers, right? And our communication to that segment of concern is that these are folks that can't afford a lawyer,
I can't pay
right?
you.
They can't pay you anyway. And so we're not taking money away. We are enabling you to serve people in a different way. right? Through this
Absolutely.
justice
Absolutely.
tech. And so I'm really
Mhm.
excited at the prospect of you all integrating some of this technology into the educational system. I know you all are still figuring out exactly how that's going to work. And so we'll have some other conversations about that. But where do
Yeah.
you see, you know, for students, law students who do have access to this technology, how do you see that impacting the way they practice the law?
Oh boy. I, I again, for a number of reasons, I think awareness is one, right? So having awareness such that as they practice law, they can refer people to this justice law technology, right? I can't help you, but have you considered this? Or I can help you within this. So again, this limited scope, right? So again, beneficial for both parties. Um, but in order to get there, we have to have awareness, right? So integrating it into the classroom or in the curriculum of law school makes the most sense, right? Because if, again, the ultimate goal of lawyers is to serve people and to help people, right? Then we need to be able to help people, all people, right? And be able to help them in a manner, in all sorts of different manners. So I need to be aware that there is this program out there that I can refer you to, even help you with, right? So that you can resolve your issue if I can't resolve it for you or in some way, shape, or form. So, getting students to recognize that these types of platforms are out there and then, exposing them to it, allowing them to use it, and be aware of it such that it can be beneficial when they move on to the practice of law.
Extraordinary. I know as an urban university, historically, North Carolina Central has had to uh, be innovative in all sorts of ways
Mm,
to survive and to serve, a student base that is going into urban communities and just trying to keep maintain those communities and serve people as best you can. And it's so important and encouraging to me that the hometown law school here, if you will, is thinking in these very innovative ways. I'm just so excited that we're able to work with you and support your students and faculty in this way. So, Nikki, let me share your website
yeah.
with our viewers. Where else can people learn more about the work going on at NCCU Law and about you?
Definitely the website is first and foremost. You can also find the law library's homepage is on the main law school website. There is also the Legal Eagle podcast that our professors at our law school do, focusing on issues specifically related to civil rights and administrative justice and serving people. So the Legal Eagle podcast is on WNCU. So be sure to a listen to that. Just plugging Professor Joyner and Professor Dawson. We do have a Law and Technology Policy Center that always is looking to serve the public by technology innovations and being creative and serving not only serving the community and the technology integrations that are coming. They're here and more are coming. So we're excited to be evolving as the North Carolina's HBCU law school, and serving its population and serving and fighting for it as it was created for civil rights. So be sure to follow us and check out all the wonderful things that North Carolina Central Law School is doing.
You bet, you bet. That is so exciting. I'm glad to have almost a front row seat in some of these
Me
changes.
too.
So really, really excited to be able to work with you. Thank you so much, Nikki, for joining us, and we will talk again soon.
Thank you,
Thank
Nikki.
you for having me. It was wonderful to be here.
Fantastic,
Yeah,
fantastic.
librarians rock.
We're librarians do rock. I am humble. I am humble. That's for sure. Good, good, good. Fantastic. Well, do you want to take us on home here?
Sure. Today's quiz: true or false? In litigation, all disputes are resolved through a trial or a judge's ruling. Well, that is false. In litigation, All disputes are not resolved through a trial or judge's ruling. Some of them are resolved through arbitration, others through mediation, and then sometimes there can be a party to party settlement. And so those things work. That probably happens more often than the a judge's ruling or a jury's ruling. So that is it for today.
That's absolutely right. I love true or false questions because you just toss a coin and
You
you're
got
gonna have a good
50%.
yeah, you gotta have yeah, exactly. But no, I mean it is important. I think many people don't recognize that the vast majority of civil claims are resolved in settlement. So it's really important to point that out.
I like that we focused on lately on mediators and arbitrators and that area of law because people don't know about that.
Absolutely, absolutely. It in my opinion, it's a fundamental part. If you find yourself in court, try to get out as soon as possible. No doubt about it.
Yeah.
But that's why we're here for sure. All right. Fantastic. Well, great show today. Thank you to Nikki Perry and all the good folks at North Carolina Central. Just I've got some legacy. Both my parents were students there, and just love the university and everything it does. And so great to have her on the show. That's all we've got for you today. Thanks as always for joining us, and we will see you next time.
Are you feeling beleaguered, angry, or afraid, as if things are spinning out of control and you're powerless to stop them? It's easy to just let things slide and hope they don't get worse. But they often do get worse. The thing is, you're not powerless. Our courts belong to us, and their purpose is to give power to the powerless. Don't let your grievances pile up without redressing them. You can handle this in court. Or, if someone takes you to court, you can take them to school.